Does intermittent fasting really help? Well, the simple answer is yes, but it does depend on how you do it. And if done correctly, it does work as a fairly powerful treatment modality. Most people will define intermittent fasting simply as restricted eating, which it is, but that is not really where the value of intermittent fasting is. Its real value actually comes from keeping the stomach totally empty for a period of 12, 14, 16, or sometimes up to 18 hours. Now just try and understand the stomach is a muscular sac, and as a muscle, it contracts and it expands. It is actually when the stomach can fully contract itself, which happens when there has been no food or other substances in it for a prolonged period of time, that it regains its vitality. In that full contraction, it gets a chance to release all its toxins which are there in its surrounding layers and cells, and hence cleanses itself of it. As the muscle contracts, the surrounding organs, which is the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, as well as the heart and the respiratory mechanisms, also get a chance to release their toxins through the stomach and via the stool. And this is where the real value of intermittent fasting really lies. Who should do it? For sure, those who have a bad stomach, they will benefit the most. And when I say a bad stomach, what that really means is, if you feel a sense of heaviness after eating, if you feel you burp, belch, or fart too much, if you feel that meals make you tired and almost you want to lie down, or you have a sense of acidity and indigestion frequently, then you don't have a good stomach. And like I said, these organs that sit together also tend to impact each other. So a prolonged or chronically bad stomach over a period of time will also then cause something in your liver or something in your pancreas or something in your respiratory system or something in your heart. So for all these organs to feel healthy, you do need an empty stomach every now and then. There are only two things to keep in mind really when we are going to do intermittent fasting. One is the duration of the fast, and the second is how we break the fast. Now, starting with the first one, mostly people do this between a 14 to 16 hour window, and that is fine. But it really does depend on what your starting point is. It also depends on whether you're using intermittent fasting specifically to treat a diagnosed condition. But if that is not the point and you want general health benefits and a very healthy stomach and also the surrounding organs which don't really have a chronic disease, then a 14-hour window is most recommended. What this means is that for 14 hours, nothing other than water, and this includes a lot of liquids that people sometimes misunderstand and keep having, should go into your stomach. The other thing to keep in mind is actually the timing of the fast. So what works best is if you stop eating the previous day, say around 7:30, and then restart eating at about 9 a.m. or 9:30 the next day, then it gives you like the most useful 14-hour window to keep the stomach empty. This also aligns well with the natural circadian rhythm of the body. So this timing of the intermittent fast is most recommended. Now, I do know of people who actually focus on the timing of it, but they stop eating at 10 p.m. the previous night and then restart eating the next day around noon or even later. And it does still give you some benefits. But like I mentioned, if you align the timing also with the natural circadian rhythm of your body, then you're bound to get maximum benefit out of it. The third point to keep in mind when we are doing intermittent fasting, and this is also the most crucial, is how you break this fast or how you come out of this fast. Now, a lot of people sometimes break it with a stimulant, which is a tea or a coffee. And surprisingly here, coffee seems to work for most people. And it is not actually that it works, it's just that because coffee does not hit the stomach directly, people don't sense the discomfort that quickly. If you did it with tea, the discomfort is more obvious and quick. But with coffee, because it bypasses the stomach, people often feel that coffee works during intermittent fasting, and hence they tend to break their fast next day with sometimes even black coffee. I would highly advise against it. These are both stimulants, and this is not what your stomach needs when it has been empty for such a long period of time. The best way to break the fast is actually with the fruit juice. And since we are also trying to tone the stomach more, carrot juice, orange juice, or sweet lime juice actually works best. If for any reason you find the citrus juices slightly more acidic, then please dilute them with a little bit of water and then have it. If you already have high sugar in the morning and are also trying to lose a lot more weight through this modality, then eating a whole fruit will actually benefit you more. Papayas work best, followed by apples, and followed by raw carrots actually. So you can decide on what is seasonal and also what suits you more when you eat it. But this would be the best meal to have as you are coming out of this fast on a regular basis. So in terms of priority, there are really only 3 things to keep in mind. How you break the fast is priority number 1. The hours of the fast are priority number 2. And the timing, which is when do you stop eating the previous night and when do you start eating in the morning, is actually priority number 3 here. Who should do it? As I mentioned earlier in the video, anybody who has issues with their liver, their lungs, their heart, their spleen, their pancreas, or their respiratory system should do it. It is quite beneficial to tone these organs. If you do have high morning fasting sugar, or you are trying to cut weight, obesity, or you have fatty liver, then intermittent fasting is especially helpful. Who should not do it? Well, the only people who should not do it is people whose starting point is actually deficiencies. So what I mean by that is, if you have anemia or you have vitamin and mineral deficiencies, then the intermittent fasting modality is not for you. You can actually end up with worse health outcomes after doing intermittent fasting if this is your starting point. This is why I would also recommend that a basic blood test which checks for these things is advised, especially if you're trying to do a prolonged fasting for about 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 months. Get that done, and then you can try this for yourself. If you're trying to treat a chronic or disease condition, then I would recommend doing this under supervision. You can get in touch with us. Our WhatsApp number and website are the best way of contacting us. Both of these are available on the Insta page.